2 hours east of San Francisco, beyond the grassy hills of the coast and the vineyards at the foot of Mount Diablo, is the San Joaquin River Delta, home to nearly 100 small farms that enjoy soil and climate conditions that are ideal for growing spring asparagus. For over 25 years, the Mr. Spear mail-order catalog has procured the largest and most flavorful asparagus from these local farmers. Chip Arnett, the owner of Mr. Spear, attributes the superior quality of the asparagus to the unique geography of the Delta region.
The San Francisco Bay, being maybe 60 miles to the west of us, used to just kind of come in here on a high tide and flood this whole area. And as you look out over the farm, you can envision this used to all be marsh. It used to all be salt water. The constant reclamation of the ground has given us what we call our peat soil. This used to be just a whole variety of vegetation that is decomposed over years and years and years. And we were very fortunate to just have all of this turn into very rich soil. And it just gives you all the vitamins, nutrients, everything ideal for producing the very best asparagus in the world.
Asparagus is a perennial vegetable and a member of the lily family. The appearance of the very first shoots announces the arrival of spring. For farmers in the San Joaquin Valley, the asparagus season usually begins with the warm sun of February.
Normally, we're looking for consistent 60, 65 degree weather, and it just spits out of the ground, and all of a sudden, you've got a beautiful asparagus.
As asparagus stalks are harvested, each crown continues to push up new spears through the soil. This fast, constant growth allows farmers to work the same healthy field up to 45 times during the growing season.
It's amazing how fast this stuff will grow. In fact, we've actually sat here and seen one spear grow within a couple inches, maybe a couple inches just within 2 or 3 hours, if it's hot.
Because of its inherent delicacy, asparagus is one of the few vegetables that must be harvested and prepared for market entirely by hand. Every morning in the packing sheds across the Delta, farmers unload the day's harvest and begin a regimen of careful washing and sorting. Here at Victoria Island Farms, the fresh asparagus are quickly prepared for market within hours of harvest to preserve the very best flavor and texture and to prevent the tender asparagus from becoming unpleasantly woody and fibrous.
This is the #1 position when the asparagus first comes out of the washer. This lady's job is to hand sort and select the very best and the biggest ones for Mr. Spear.
Less than 5% of the daily harvest at Victoria Island Farms is destined for Mr. Spear customers. The remaining harvest is further sorted by size and grade, trimmed to consistent length, and packed for immediate shipment to markets across the country and even around the world. Even after it is cut from the fields, the asparagus remains a living plant. Space is left at the top of the boxes to give room for the spears to continue to grow during transit. Asparagus requires a cool, moist environment to stay tender, so before the asparagus leaves the packing shed, the spears are rapidly cooled under a final ice water bath. California produces nearly half of all the nation's annual asparagus crop during the brief 3-month season, which is typically March through May. As the heat of summer approaches, growers are careful not to overwork the plants by extending the harvest too long.
What you want to stay away from in the supermarket is the small, spindly asparagus, especially the ones that are starting to flower out on the tips. This means the plant's tired, it's old. It's not strong enough to really push anything that big out of the ground. And that's a big misconception that a lot of people have. They think the real small asparagus is baby asparagus, and that it's going to be better. But it couldn't be any further from the truth. At the end of the season, we let these plants rejuvenate themselves by we don't even cut them. They turn into a nice fern. And we let them flower out, and then the sun is able to go through the fern and rejuvenate the crown. What you're looking for in a perfect asparagus spear at the grocery store, you're looking for a nice tight head. That means this top part here, the tip should be very solid, very tight. And as you follow it down, you should have at least 8 inches of green. That is an ideal spear.